let's kick it off here with Scottie Pippen. Scottie Pippen, one of the 50 greatest players of all time, won those 6 championships with Michael Jordan. A great player in his own right. Everybody acknowledges him. But I feel bad. Like, guys, like, don't destroy everything. Don't make people look at you sideways. That's where we are with Scottie Pippen. It's like the Kwame Brown kind of thing, where he just got fed up, so he's going to attack everybody. And this onslaught on Michael Jordan, I don't know what happened, what Michael did to him. Was he jealous because Mike?
Oh, you know what he did to him, Rob. We saw The Last Dance. We know exactly what he did to him.
But it was it not true?
I mean, it's one man's perspective, and
Scotty, a lot of it
Scotty
was
took
true.
a lot of negativity from that documentary.
We saw the video. He didn't want to go into the game with Kukoc, right? That was there. Everybody tried to talk him out of signing that contract. He did it anyway. I mean, there were moments there with Scotty. And here's my only argument, and then you'll tell us what Scotty said now, and we'll hear some sound from Scottie Pippen. But nobody stopped him, Rob G., from winning a Finals MVP, okay? Steph Curry's on the Warriors. How many has he won?
0.
Okay. So Michael Jordan went to 6 finals, won all 6, and won all 6 MVPs. Was there a rule that Michael Jordan had to win the MVP?
No.
Okay, so Scotty could have won if he played better, right?
Yes.
Or had more impact.
Yes.
Okay. So I don't understand that. Also, he's got his panties in a bunch because Mike got paid for The Last Dance. Well, it's a TV show. Guess what? ESPN pays for shows, right, Rob G? They play commercials during it.
Yep.
Right? I mean, that's the business model. I don't think is anybody shocked that Michael Jordan got paid for that. If Scottie Pippen was worried about it back then, why did he do it? He could have said, what am I getting for my time and my energy? And if they said, well, we're not paying anybody for doing interviews, he could have said, thank you very much, but I'm not going to participate. Correct or not?
He totally could have. You're right.
Okay. So to cry about it and bellyache about it 2 years later doesn't make any sense to me. Because you understand how television and the business works. You worked at ESPN. Were you on for free? Or did they pay you? Yeah. Come on, Rob. Do you know I'm right on that?
No, you're right on that. In that aspect, you're definitely right.
All right, what's the latest? Let's hear from.
Well, you mentioned that Scottie Pippen is upset at Michael Jordan because of The Last Dance, and he's trying to promote a book, so maybe he's taking things a little bit further than even he normally would. But over the last, we'll say 2 months, I think Scottie Pippen is going above and beyond to express how upset he is with Michael Jordan over what he did in The Last Dance and the way he portrayed himself and the other members of the Bulls.
Do you feel that not enough was made of that moment? Because there you were playing hurt in a deciding game against a great Utah Jazz team.
Here's my breakdown on that. Is it easier to play with a herniated disc or to play with the flu? Well, I don't see many bad back games, but I do see flu games.
That was Scottie Pippen on Sirius XM NBA radio discrediting Michael Jordan's famous flu game because he himself, he says, was dealing with a herniated disc. And this goes back to his larger point, I think, that he's been trying to make ever since The Last Dance ended, is that Scottie Pippen believes that Michael Jordan went out of his way to build up his own legend in The Last Dance and went out of his way to almost discredit everybody else that was on those teams.
Oh, I don't think so.
Well, it's Scottie Pippen's opinion. This is just his opinion. I think what I think he's trying to say is
why did they have a section about Steve Kerr, a segment on Steve Kerr? If it was about Steve Kerr made a basket, they didn't have to show that. But was that the defining moment, or were they trying to make a point on a different play? Like, seriously, he made a basket in a big game, right?
Yes,
that's all he did.
Right.
Did they have would the story about the Bulls be incomplete if they didn't show the Steve Kerr and do a segment about Steve Kerr?
Yes.
No,
it
wouldn't.
It would have. I think it would have. I don't think
no,
it
wouldn't have. They could have showed it, but they didn't have to do a segment on Steve Kerr.
To interview Steve Kerr and talk about it. Yeah, I guess you could say that. But I think what Scottie has been alluding to, over the last, what is this now, a year that he's been upset about it, is that in The Last Dance, and this is what I think, and I'll get your opinion about it afterwards, is that Michael Jordan made a point in that, it's not a documentary, it's more like a docu-series because it's only one person's perspective on the whole thing.
Right.
Is look at everything that Michael Jordan did. Look at everything he had to overcome. Look at all the challenges that he took on.
It was about Michael Jordan.
Exactly. It was not about the Bulls. It was about Michael Jordan. And in order to do that, some guys who think they deserve more credit or think that they deserve a bigger, share of the pie, and so to speak, they kind of get pushed aside because this is not their story. This is Michael Jordan's story. And I think that's why Scottie Pippen is so upset, because he thinks that he was, in his eyes, was right there with Michael during that whole run.
I get that. But it's like musical groups. It's Diana Ross and the Supremes. Mm-hmm. It's Mick Jagger and the Rolling Stones. Am I right or wrong?
No, you're right. Michael Jackson and the Jackson 5.
Yes, there's always a front man. Somebody's going. Lionel Richie and the Commodores. No?
No, you're right.
Somebody's got to be out front. Nobody just all of a sudden just decides, we're going to only call them by their name and everybody's the same. No, that's just not it. And Michael had all the other stuff, the sneakers and the memorable games and the big moments and the shot in Cleveland. And I'm just still, help me out. Give me the Scottie Pippen moment that was missed. Which basket was it, Rob G? Help me out. I covered the Bulls during that time. I remember Scottie Pippen at the Palace of Auburn Hills with an ice pack on his head when he had a migraine headache. I remember that. You know what I thought back then? How will he ever overcome that? That's what I thought at the time. Like in a Game 7, you can't play, or you can't play well because you got a migraine headache. So if there's a moment where Scottie made the big shot against Cleveland, to win the series, then it would be different. He never made those. I'm not saying he wasn't important, but you can't give me any moments. What was left out? What was on the cutting room floor that discredited Scottie Pippen or left out an highlight that was paramount to what the Bulls did? I don't know of one.
See, that's fair, because I don't think he didn't have those kind of moments. But to say that he was just along for the ride, which is
I didn't say that.
I know you didn't say that.
Okay.
But The Last Dance, Rob, the way that it was shown, other than the Paxson shot and the Kerr shot, we were led to believe that Michael Jordan did everything by himself in that Last Dance.
I get that.
It was, Michael Jordan overcame the cocaine circus. He overcame Scottie Pippen's migraines and his back injury. He overcame, being the celebrity and having everything pulling at him, but he was able to fight through it. And he's the one who got past the bad boy Pistons. And he's the one who went, 6 for 6 in the finals.
No, I get
what
it.
About the other guys?
We do it all the time, and it's football is worse with Tom Brady.
Yes.
The defense plays well, and Tom Brady gets all the credit.
Tom Brady's right up there with Michael Jordan in terms of.
But I think the difference, though, is in the NBA, all you need is 2 players. In the NFL, you got to have a defense, right? Ask Aaron Rodgers, whose defense is giving up 40 points.
Right.
That's what kills me now. Is everybody's now pointing to Patrick Mahomes saying, well, the defense. Well, he's got to try to make something happen. It's hard to win when when Aaron Rodgers says that, what do they say? Oh, you're making excuses.
Yeah, exactly.
Am I right?
No, you're right. They were giving up 30-plus points a game in the NFC Championship games historically, I think.
Yes.
Last season.
And I think in 5 of his postseason losses, they've given up 38 points or more.
Yeah, you're not going to win very often like that. But it's just.
Well, do we have sound from Scottie?
Well, we already played the Scottie Pippen sound. That was with him talking to Frank Isola.
To Frank Isola on the NBA.
Yeah. So, but I sympathize with Scottie because I think that guys like The Odd Couple, Chris Broussard and Rob Parker, there's this hagiography with Michael Jordan that I think has kind of run amok, because most of the people who are in sports media today, the most prominent voices and faces like you guys are, there's a very revisionist history with Michael Jordan. There's no, let's be honest, like you are with Tom Brady. Like, look, Tom Brady is great. I'm not saying he's not great, but let's be honest and say, hey, you know what? He also had a top 5 defense every one of those years. You can say Michael Jordan is great. He's probably the greatest player who ever lived. But let's be honest, he didn't win anything until Scottie Pippen got there. He also had a very good front office. They didn't like him. They found a way to get players around him that fit what he did well. And I think that this idea that Michael Jordan did everything by himself and it was just Michael Jordan and the Jordanaires, I just don't think that's true.
I get it, but I think Scottie's going about it the wrong way. Because you can't tear down Michael Jordan in order to try to make yourself look better.
Yeah, there's definitely a better way to do it. Because
would you agree with that?
I would definitely agree with that. And it's not like it's not like he can't make a case for himself. Like, look, I brought it up. They didn't win a playoff series before he got there.
Right.
When Jordan retired the first time, he was third in the MVP running. So he can make a good case for himself. You're right, without having to attack Michael Jordan.
Right, and I think that's where he loses some credibility and some points with people because basically he's trying to say, look at me, I'm the reason, and I don't think people are going to say that. But he can make your own documentary. Tell your own story. Show how you never won a finals MVP. Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm just saying. Are you talking about Steph Curry or Scottie Pippen?
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Well, Steph can make one too, both of them. Called I Never Hit a Big Shot. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I say that?
No. He had 50 and 10, Rob Parker, the other night.
Yeah, it was a regular season game.
And what's funny is after that game, people started pumping up Steph Curry again like they always do.
Right.
And somebody put on Twitter that they did a poll on some NBA website, who's the most clutch players of the last 20 years, and Steph Curry came in 8th. I was like, when? How?
How was he 8th?
I have no idea.
Right. It doesn't make any sense.